A mutant that absorbs solar radiation like Superman and rich like Batman. Who is Sunspot? Let's find out in this video. To start off, Sunspot appeared in Marvel graphic novel issue 4, so Roberto Da Costa aka Sunspot is the son of millionaire Emmanuel Da Costa and Nina Da Costa. When he was playing in a championship soccer game at 14 years old, Roberto had beef with a couple boys from the other team and knocked down one of them named Keller. When Keller gained the upper hand and started beating on Roberto, his powers manifested and Roberto threw Keller away with his newly acquired super strength. Everyone was scared of Roberto after his powers manifested and his appearance changed, but his girlfriend Juliana Sandoval stood by him. Donald Pierce, the White Bishop of the Inner Circle of the Hellfire Club, soon had his eyes on Roberto as he wanted to off him and any of the mutants he had his sight on. Donald's mercenaries attempted to capture Roberto but failed and caught Juliana instead. Charles Xavier, who at the time was infected with the alien brood egg, but that's besides the point. He heard about Donald's plan and sent Moira McTaggart, Karma, and Psyche to help Roberto. Roberto then went to the location where the mercenaries held Juliana, but the mercenaries planned to off both of them. Near the end of the conflict, one of the mercenaries tried to shoot Roberto right after he went back to normal, but Juliana sacrificed her life and took the bullet instead, dying instantly. As Roberto mourns for Juliana, he promises to defeat Donald, and eventually he did with some help from Wolfsbane and a few others. From then on, Roberto agreed to join the New Mutants, became best friends with Samuel Guthrie aka Cannonball, and received training from Charles Xavier. During his early days in the New Mutants, Roberto's father joined the Hellfire Club, went on a trip to Asgard, and battled the X-Men while they were mind controlled by Mojo. In the Fallen Angel storyline, Roberto accidentally hurt Cannonball during a soccer game, and he left the New Mutants team feeling like he's a danger to them. He lived on the streets for a certain time until he attempted to save a runaway mutant named Chance. While fighting the thugs, his powers failed and Chance abandoned him. Roberto was quickly saved by Warlock, then tried to convince Roberto to come back to the New Mutants, but he refused and attempted to rob a church, but he couldn't bring himself to do it. Another character named Gomi convinced Roberto to join the Fallen Angels, which is a group made up of mutant thieves organized by Vanisher, who is a mutant criminal. Soon enough, Vanisher sent the Fallen Angels to Valley of the Flame and Dinosaur World. Roberto then started rethink on his decision leaving the New Mutants. One of the Fallen Angel members named Ariel suggested that they go to her homeworld, Coconut Grove. This was a really bad idea as they were all captured and prepped to be experimented on, leading up to them working together to defeat the leader of the Coconut Grove named Unipar and return to Earth. All this gave Roberto more than enough reason to return to the New Mutants, alongside Warlock just in time to help them in the battle against Cameron Hodge and the Right, which is an anti-mutant organization. During the battle, Cypher took a bullet for Wolfsbane and died. Magneto was in charge of the New Mutants at the time and ordered they don't use their powers without his permission, which led to a feud between him and Roberto, leading up to the team leaving Magneto. When Roberto's father died, he left the New Mutants and went with Gideon and took over his dad's business. A major twist occurred as Gideon was the one who offed Roberto's dad and experimented on Roberto by increasing his solar absorption abilities by 3,000%, hoping he could be a potential candidate to join the Externals, which are a group of immortal mutants that share connections to each other. Cable and the X-Force helped Roberto, and it's revealed that he gotten more powerful. He also gained a new ability, which is the fire energy blast from his hands. Later on, Roberto was deported from the US and returned to Brazil, but the lifestyle of being a rich playboy was boring and unsatisfying. So Selene, who was in charge of the Hellfire Club at the time, approached Roberto, resulting in him agreeing to join the X-Force in battle. Selene had sinister motives as her and Blackheart proposed a deal with Roberto to join her and Juliana, the girlfriend that sacrificed herself for Roberto, would be brought back to life in exchange. But the catch was that Juliana's spirit would be revived in a recently dead girl's body. And yes, I know that's horrific, but when you involve beings like Blackheart or Mephisto into the mix, you have to expect some dark stuff to come along with it. So after the events of House of M and when Scarlet Witch says no more mutants, Roberto was one of the few mutants that kept their powers. And as an added bonus, Donald Pierce was back and manipulated a team of young X-Men into attacking Roberto. Donald's plan was eventually thwarted, of course, and he was defeated. And as a result, Roberto agreed with Cyclops to teach his team of young X-Men before bringing back the New Mutants with his old teammates. After the events of Avengers vs. the X-Men, Roberto was one of the heroes that agreed to join a backup team of Avengers, just in case the core members of the original team were in deep trouble, and it paid off as Roberto and his teammates had to rescue core members such as Iron Man, Thor, Hawkeye, etc. Later on, after his time in the Avengers, incursions on Earth was made public, so Roberto bought AIM and would use their resources to investigate incursions from the Savage Land and help other heroes during their incursion crisis. After the crisis passed, Roberto rebranded AIM as Avengers Idea Mechanics and relocated it to Avengers Island. Another problem occurred within Roberto as he developed a disease named Mpox. While he had his disease, he had to keep his powers in check since every time he would use them, it ages them rapidly. This would be kind of resolved when he died and came back to life on Krakoa. This new life on Krakoa promoted Roberto to visit Cannonball, who at this point in time is living in Shi'ar space with his wife and child. During his visit, along with the New Mutants, Roberto tried to convince Cannonball to come home, but he was satisfied with the life he already has. Instead, Cannonball offered Roberto to stay, so Roberto bought the whole whole building Cannonball and his family lived in to stay close to him and Deathbird, as Roberto was flirting with her during the visit. As of now, Roberto owns a bar called the Red Lagoon on Erico, which is Mars, but is actually terraformed by mutant kind, and he's living back on Earth now. So now that you guys are all caught up, we're gonna move on to his powers and skills. To start off, he goes absorb solar radiation and other various forms of energy and manipulate it as so he please. That gives him enhanced agility, speed, reflexes, durability, flight, super strength, you can name it. You can use photokinesis, thermokinesis. He's a businessman as he's inherited his father's business. He's an Olympic level athlete and a soccer player. He knows swordsmanship and he's multilingual as he's able to speak English, Spanish, Chinese, and of course Portuguese. As far as martial arts, he's been trained by Captain America, Black Panther, and Daredevil. And let's not forget his time as an X-Man when he was training with them. Moving on to nerd facts, Roberto can actually use his abilities to provide nourishment for himself, so he doesn't really need to eat, drink. As long as he got energy from the sun or any other types of radiation, he's good. Another cool nerd fact about Roberto is that he was actually the leader of his own Avengers team called the US Avengers, so that shows on how much of a leader he is besides him being a businessman. So as far as my personal thoughts, looking from the outside in, it's amazing now on how he doesn't have more spotlight, but then again, the New Mutants movie didn't do so well, and thankfully the X-Men 97 show is doing him some justice. I did not know he bought AIM and joined the Avengers. Those are some achievements that shouldn't be overlooked, but it is, and good thing we have videos like mine. And I promise this is not me bragging, but it does give Sunspot the respect he's earned in comics. And besides all that, if you stuck this long into the video, thank you guys and girls for sticking this long. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you don't miss anything in the future. And if you want to support the channel even more, my links will be down in the description box below, as well as my social media. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.